Hello everyone, hope you all are keeping fine. Very good. Today we'll start with chapter 8 of your supplementary reader, and it is the hack driver. Alright, so we are going to start with this chapter, Hack Driver, written by Sinclair Lewis. And there are two characters about whom we will be reading in this chapter. One is the lawyer, who is the narrator of the story, and the other one is Bill, who is the hack driver. Alright, so as we read through the story, we'll come to know what it is about. So take out your book and be ready, and also keep your pencil with you. The hack driver. Hack is a horse cart. Alright, so the driver of a horse cart, the hack driver. A young lawyer comes to a village to serve summons on Oliver Lutkins. A friendly hack driver takes him round the village in search of Lutkins. Does he find him? Who is Lutkins? So this is what we are going to read in this chapter. There is a lawyer, I told you, is the narrator of the story. He reaches a place and there he has to find one person, Oliver Lutkins. And this hack driver, Bill, he befriends this lawyer and gets ready to help him to find Oliver Lutkins. So as we read, we'll come to know, did he really find Oliver Lutkins, and who is Oliver Lutkins? The answer to that also we'll get. Now read and find out. As we read, we'll get the answers to these questions. What are the questions? Why is the lawyer sent to New Mullion? What does he first think about the place? Who befriends him? Where does he take him? And what does he say about Lutkins? As we move ahead in this chapter, we'll get answers to these questions. So let's start reading. After graduating with honors, I became a junior assistant clerk in a magnificent law firm. I was sent not to prepare legal briefs but to serve summons like a cheap private detective. So after graduating, he started working in a law firm, a very big established law firm, very famous law firm, and in that law firm, he was not given work to prepare legal documents and all, but sent to serve summons. Summons are the notice that are given to persons to appear in the court. So he used to take those notices and he used to give to the person to whom it is to be delivered. This was the work done by him. And he felt that though he has graduated, he was working as a cheap detective. I had to go to dirty and shadowy corners of the city to seek out my victims. Who are the victims? The people to whom he is taking the summons. So these people used to live in different corners of the city and different places of the country maybe, and these regions were very dark, very frightening type of places, and he had to go there, dirty places. Some of the larger and more self-confident ones even beat me up. Many people were not ready to take the summons and be present in the court. So instead of taking the summons, they would beat him up. I hated this unpleasant work and the sight of city life it revealed to me. I even considered fleeing to my hometown where I could have been a real lawyer right away without going through this unpleasant training period. He has just completed graduation and he had joined this magnificent law firm for training. But the experience of the city life made him to rethink about this of his training, and he was thinking that why not run back to my hometown and become a lawyer there. I have already graduated. Why training? Directly I'll become a lawyer. Why to do all this work of serving summons and getting beaten up by some people? Why to do all this? Why not directly become a lawyer? He thought about this many times. So I rejoiced one day when they sent me out 40 miles in the country to a town called New Mullion to serve summons on a man called Oliver Lutkins. We needed this man as a witness in a law case, and he had ignored all our letters. This law firm required a person named Oliver Lutkins for a case. He was a witness, and they had been sending letters to him about this, but he was ignoring all these letters. So finally the law firm decided to send this lawyer, the young narrator, to Oliver Lutkins, to find Oliver Lutkins and personally serve him the summons. And this was in the country, in the village. So our lawyer, our narrator, he also became very happy, thinking that I don't have to bear the people of the city, I am going to the village where the people are very simple. So he was very happy, he was rejoiced. When I got to New Mullion, my eager expectations of a sweet and simple country village were severely disappointed. So he had thought he is going to a village and simple type of people and all that he had imagined about the village. As soon as he reached this place, New Mullion, that imagination vanished because it was totally different from his imagination. Its streets were rivers of mud with rows of wooden shops, either painted a sour brown or bare of any paint at all. The streets did not have roads, mud, unmetalled road it was, muddy roads. The shops were wooden shops. Some shops were painted in brown color, some were not even painted. The only agreeable sight about the place was the delivery man at the station. Delivery man, a person who brings and takes goods and people from the station to other places. Alright, that person was there. He was about 40, red-faced, cheerful and thick about the middle. Thick about the middle means fat, had a big tummy and also he was fat. His working clothes were dirty and well worn and he had a friendly manner. The clothes that he was wearing, that were very old, worn out clothes. But he was well-mannered, friendly in nature. You felt at once that he liked people, and as soon as you start talking to him, you know that he is very friendly person and he liked talking to people. I told him, to find a man named Oliver Lutkins. Lutkins? I saw him around here about an hour ago. Our lawyer who had gone to New Mullion in order to find out Lutkins, he tells this hack driver, this delivery man, that I am here to find a man named Lutkins. So he says, Lutkins, I saw him an hour ago. Hard fellow to catch though. Very hard to catch him. Very difficult to catch him. Almost impossible. Always up to something or the other. Always he is doing something or the other here and there. Alright, so very difficult to trace him, find him. He is probably trying to start up a poker game in the back of Fritz's shop. I tell you boy, is there any hurry about locating Lutkins? And he said, what I feel is that at present he must be playing poker game, poker card game. He must be playing that. So if we go there, we can catch. Are you in a hurry? Yes. I want to catch the afternoon train back to the city. I was very important and secret about it. He said, yes. Because I want to find this fellow and after that I have to catch the afternoon train to go back to my city. I'll tell you what, I've got a hack. I'll get it out and we can drive around together and find Lutkins. He said, I'll tell you something, I have a hack. A horse cart is there, I'll take it out and then we'll together go and find Lutkins. I know most of the places he hangs out. He hangs out means most of the places where he usually is. Where we can find him, I know those places where he usually goes. So I'll help you. He was so open and friendly that I glowed with the warmth of his affection. And such a friendly person talking so nicely. Alright, our narrator, he felt full confidence in this person. I knew of course that he wanted the business, but his kindness was real. And okay, he was talking friendly, it may be because he wanted the business. That is, this narrator would hire him to take him around the village and he would pay, he would get money for that. That is okay, but still the way he was talking, the kindness that he was showing, that was real, it was not fake. That is what our narrator felt. I was glad the fair money would go to this good fellow. I managed to bargain down to $2 an hour and then he brought from his house nearby a sort of large back box on wheels. So they had a deal, and it was decided that for every 1 hour he would be paying him $2. Then he went to his house, which was near to the railway station, and from there he brought a horse cart. It looked like a black box which was on wheels. Well, young man, here's the carriage. And his wide smile made me into an old friend. And he said, young man, here's my carriage. And the way he smiled, it seemed that this person was not a stranger to me. I felt as if I am talking to an old friend. These villagers are so ready to help a stranger. He had already made it in his own task to find Oliver Lutkins for me, and he was very happy the way this village person is acting. Now you imagine in the city when he used to go to serve summons, he used to get beaten up also. But here, this strange person, he is so friendly and he is ready to find Oliver Lutkins for the narrator. How friendly, how kind of him. The narrator was very happy. He said, I don't want to interfere, young fellow, but my guess is that you want to collect some money from Lutkins. He never pays anybody a cent. So now this hack driver asked Lutkins, I don't want to interfere in your work, but let me know, are you here to collect some money from Lutkins? Because this is Lutkins' habit. He never gives, he takes from people but never gives it back. He still owes me 50 cents on a poker game. He said, he still owes me, I have to take 50 cents. He lost a poker game and he has not given me the money. I was fool, though, to play with him. And he said, I was a fool to have played poker game with him. I should have known that if he loses, he won't give me the money. He is not really bad, but it's hard to make him part with his money. He is not a bad fellow, but it is that he doesn't feel like giving his money to others. If you try to collect from him in those fancy clothes, he'll be suspicious and get away from you. But the way you are dressed up as a gentleman, if you go and try to collect the money from him, he won't give you. He'll be doubtful seeing you and he may run away. He won't give you the money. So what should be done? If you want, I'll go into Fritz and ask for him, and you can keep out of sight behind me. So he said, do one thing. If you say, I'll go in first into Fritz, I'll find out about him. You just stay behind. And if he's there, then we can catch him. I loved him for this. He said, okay. He said, yes, such a nice person helping me. I loved him for this. By myself, I might never have found Lutkins. So the narrator was very happy. Such a kind hack driver helping me, taking the risk of finding out about Oliver Lutkins, who is such a hard fellow. Narrator was very thankful to him. Such a nice person, and the narrator knew if he had to go around in the village and search for Lutkins, he won't be able to find. Because actually he didn't know who Lutkins was. He had never seen the face of Lutkins. With the hack driver's knowing help, I was sure of getting my man. And this hack driver, he knew Lutkins. And because of the hack driver, our narrator was sure that he will be able to catch Lutkins today. I took him into my confidence and told him that I wanted to serve the summons on Lutkins, that the man had refused to be a witness when his information would have quickly settled our case. So finally, now this narrator was confident that this person is a very good and kind person. So now he told the secret why he was searching for Lutkins. He told the hack driver that Lutkins was required by his firm for a case in which he is a witness. And if he comes and gives the witness, the case would settle down. But he has not accepted any letters that they had sent to him. The driver listened earnestly. He listened carefully to this. At the end, he hit me on the shoulder and laughed. Well, we'll give Brother Lutkins a little surprise. He said, okay, now we are going to give Lutkins a surprise. We are going to catch him. Don't worry. Let's start, driver. He was also full of energy now, our narrator, and he said, yes, let's start. Most folks around here call me Bill or Magnuson. My business is called William Magnuson Fancy Carting and Hacking. He said, most of the people call me Bill, some call me Magnuson, and the name of my business is William Magnuson Fancy Carting and Hacking. Alright, horse cart he is using here and there, and he is taking things from one place to another. Alright, Bill, shall we proceed to Fritz? So he said, okay. Instead of calling him driver, now he calls him the name. Alright, Bill, why not? Let's start to Fritz to find Oliver Lutkins. Yes, Lutkins is just as likely to be there as anywhere. There are fair chance that he may be there. And he can be anywhere. He told in the beginning only. He is always up to something. It is very difficult to catch him. Plays a lot of poker. And why he says he would be there? Because he plays poker. He is good at deceiving people. That is cheating people. He is very good at that. Bill seemed to admire Lutkins' talent for dishonesty. And the way Bill was describing Lutkins, it seemed that he admired, he liked Lutkins, his talent of how he cheated people, his talent of being dishonest. I felt that if he had been a policeman, he would have caught Lutkins respectfully and jailed him with regret. And a narrator feels that if Bill had been a policeman, he had caught Lutkins with full respect that I am catching such a talented person, and he would be unhappy to put him in jail. From his talks, from the way he was describing Lutkins, this is what the narrator felt, that he respected Lutkins for his talents. Bill led me into Fritz. Have you seen Oliver Lutkins around today? Friend of his looking for him, said Bill cheerily. So Bill went in first, behind him was the narrator, and Bill asked the people, have you seen Oliver Lutkins? A friend has come looking for him. Fritz looked at me, hiding behind Bill. So Fritz, the owner of the Fritz shop, he looked at this narrator, and the narrator was hiding behind Bill. He was behind Bill, standing behind Bill. He hesitated and then admitted, yes, he was in here a little while ago. Guess he's gone over to Gustav's to get a shave, a barber shop, Gustav's. He must have gone there. He was here, but he has gone from here. And I think he has gone to the barber shop for a shave. Well, if he comes in, tell him I am looking for him. So he said, okay, if he comes, tell him I am looking for him. We drove to Gustav's barber shop. Again, Bill went in first, and I lingered at the door. I stood at the door. I didn't enter the shop. Bill went inside. He tried to find out. He asked not only a Swedish person, but two customers if they had seen Lutkins. The Swede had not. The Swedish citizen, he had not, and he was irritated when he was asked. So he said angrily, I haven't seen him and don't care to. And he was very angry. He said, I haven't seen him and I don't care to see him. But if you find him, you can just collect that $35 he owes me. And what that person said, why he was angry? Because Lutkins owes him $35. So that is why he said, if you find him, tell him to give me my $35. One of the customers thought he had seen Lutkins walking down Main Street, this side of the hotel. Another customer who was sitting there, he said, I think I saw Lutkins. He was going that way. As we climbed back into the hack, Bill concluded that since Lutkins had exhausted his credit at Gustav's, he had probably gone to Gray's for a shave. So, Bill had gone into the Gustav's barber shop. He inquired about Lutkins. He came out, told our narrator that it seems that he didn't have the money to pay her, exhausted his credit, he was getting work done on credit. So now he had gone to another barber shop, maybe Gray's barber shop. So let's go there. At Gray's barber shop, we missed Lutkins by only 5 minutes. Someone there told them that he was there just 5 minutes back, he left from there. He had just left, probably to the pool room. He must have gone to the pool room. At the pool room, it appeared he had just bought a pack of cigarettes and gone out. And when they reached the pool room, there they came to know that he was there but just left. They just missed him. He bought a pack of cigarettes from there and he has gone. So we pursued him, just behind him, but never catching him, for an hour till it was past 1 o'clock. So continuously they are going different places where Bill thought Lutkins would be, and every place they reach, they come to know that they just missed him, maybe by half an hour, maybe by 5 minutes, maybe by 1 minute. They just missed him everywhere, didn't catch him. And like this, an hour went by and it was 1 o'clock, past 1 o'clock. I was hungry, but I had so enjoyed Bill's rough country opinions about his neighbors that I scarcely cared whether I found Lutkins or not. Our narrator, he was hungry, but the way Bill was talking, the way Bill was explaining about the different people in the village, he was so much interested in all this that he did not care to find Lutkins. He just wanted to go around with Bill and enjoy. He was having an enjoyable day. He was very happy. How about something to eat? I suggested. Let's go to a restaurant and I'll buy you lunch. So finally the narrator said, why not? We'll have something to eat. Let's go to a restaurant and we'll eat something. I'll pay for that. Well, I ought to go home to the wife. But the hack driver said, no. I want to go home to my wife. I don't care much of these restaurants, only 4 of them and they all bad. He said, I don't care going to the restaurants. I don't like going to the restaurants. Only 4 are there here and all the 4 are bad. Tell you what we'll do. We'll get the wife to pack up a lunch for us. She won't charge you more than $50. See, here also he is doing business. He said, we'll do one thing. We'll go home. I'll tell my wife to pack lunch for us. And she won't charge much, only $50. You can pay her. And it would cost you more for a greasy meal in a restaurant. A greasy meal, an oily meal, not good for the stomach. From the restaurant, it would cost more. Much better to have a homely food. And we'll go up to the Wades Hill, it is another place in London, and enjoy the view while we eat. We'll go there on that hillside, we'll sit there and enjoy the view and eat also. We'll have a nice lunch, a homely lunch, not heavy on the stomach also. So why not we do that? And we know that the narrator would agree, because he was agreeing to everything that Bill was telling him. So he would agree to this also. Come to the next section. I know that Bill's helpfulness to the young fellow from the city was not entirely a matter of brotherly love. The narrator knew that if Bill was helping him, it was not only because he liked the narrator or he loved the narrator or he was friendly with the narrator, but for his own business also. He was earning money also. I was paying him for his time. The time that he was giving me or he was spending for me, for that I was paying him. In the end, I paid him for 6 hours, $2 per hour. 6 hours, $12. And in this 6 hours, the lunch hour was also included at what was then a very high price. And it was a high price that the hack driver had charged. But he was no more dishonest than I charged the whole thing to the firm. But he was not dishonest. If he is dishonest, then I am also dishonest. Whatever I paid this man, I got it from my firm. I showed the bill there and got the money. So if he is dishonest, he has cheated me, then I have cheated my firm also. but it would have been worth paying him myself to have his presence. And he said, I felt that I should pay him from my pocket because his presence was so nice. I felt his presence nice with me. His cheerful country wisdom was very refreshing to a country boy like myself who was sick of the city. And the way he was talking, the village habits that he had, that was very refreshing for me. I was sick of the city life. I didn't like the city life. As we sat on the hilltop, looking over the pastures, that is the grass where the animals graze, and the creek, which is a small stream, which slipped among the trees, which passed through the trees, he talked of New Mullion, that is this place in England, and painted a picture in the words of all the people in it. So, Bill, while they were having lunch, Bill explained about that place, and the way he talked, in the narrator's mind, every person about whom he talked was clear. Every person was there in his mind. He noticed everything, but no matter how much he might laugh at people, he also understood and forgave their foolishness. He noticed the habits of all the people. He laughed at the people. Many people were foolish. He laughed at them, but he forgave them also. He described the minister's wife who sang the loudest in the church when she was most in debt. When she had taken money from some people and had to return. That time she was the one who would sing loudly in church because she needed God's help. When we are in trouble, that is the time we run to God more and more. When we are happy, everything is going well, then we don't spend that much time with God, thinking about God. He commented on the boys who came back from college in fancy clothes. He told about the lawyer whose wife could never succeed in getting him to put on both a collar and a tie on the same day. So these are the different incidents he was explaining and laughing about different people. He made them all live, and the way he was talking, all these people came live in front of his eyes. On that day, I came to know New Mullion better than I did the city and to love it better. So the way Bill explained, because of that, he came to know this country much better than the city where he was living and working. And he loved this country place a lot. Bill didn't know about colleges and cities, but he had travelled around a lot of the country and had a lot of jobs. He did not know about cities, about colleges, but he had gone everywhere here and there, and he had done many types of jobs also. From his adventures, he had brought back a philosophy of simplicity and laughter. And from whatever he had gone around doing, from his experiences, he understood one thing, that we should be simple and we should laugh out at everything. He strengthened me, and this gave strength to the lawyer, our narrator, who was feeling very bad working in that law firm. He felt as if he was a cheap private detective. He was thinking that he should leave all this and go back to his hometown. But this attitude of Bill, that gave him strength. We left that peaceful scene of meadows and woods and resumed our search of Oliver Lutkin. So finally they left this hilltop and started searching for Oliver Lutkins once again. Lunchtime was over. We could not find him. At last Bill cornered a friend of Lutkin's and made him admit what he guessed. Oliver's gone out to his mother's farm 3 miles north. So finally Bill found Oliver Lutkin's friend, and he asked him, and Oliver Lutkin's friend told that Lutkins has gone to his mother's place, and that was 3 miles from there. We drove out there laying plans, and then they started to Lutkin's mother's place to find Lutkins, to catch Lutkins, and started planning how they are going to catch. I hope you have understood till here. We'll continue in the next class, and then we'll see whether the lawyer was able to catch Oliver Lutkins or not. So be good and take care.